film. It made good money. It made worldwide over 200 million. But
is that adjusted or
yeah,
that's what
adjusted,
it was back then?
Okay. But I mean, that's not much for a Tom Cruise picture in 90. Like, I don't know. Audiences didn't really flock to it, but can you blame? I mean, this movie was not a dud. It just wasn't the blockbuster they hoped it would. Do you think that's more on the... I can see why audiences didn't flock towards it, and it's exactly what you said. There's no highs, there's no lows, there's no evil antagonist.
And no one's leaving this movie, no one's leaving the theater being like, oh my God, remember that scene? Just be like, yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, Tom Cruise was pretty cool in that. Like, yeah, Rooker was cool too. Yeah. Yeah, the car rental scene, that was cool.
You and I would go walk out and have a couple beers, talk about it for a little while, then talk about something else, but then have a good night.
I mean, again, totally enjoyable movie. Very enjoyable movie. Just the highs are not very high. Unusual movie like that.
I like seeing a sassy Cary Elwes, though. What did you think about his underwritten villain role?
God, you know, it's funny. I totally forgotten that he was even in this before preparing for this episode. And I remember when you first started talking about it, he was in that. And then I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, he's in this. Oh, he's in it a lot. Oh wow. He's okay. He's the dread pirate of this movie. And
yeah,
interesting. When we first meet him and Cole's on the phone and he's kind of dismissive at first and he's like, it's very much an honor to, drive your car and represent you. And Cole just dismisses it. But when he said that, I swear it felt like Sheen and Wall Street right before he pulls his coup.
He just hated Cole immediately almost.
It almost felt to me like he was trying to hint at him that he was going to screw him over. Like, the way he said it, I can't even hide the dripping villainy, from my twirling mustache.
And the thing about Cole Trickle is he wasn't a champion. So in Driven, Till Schweiger had won the last few races, or James Hunt and Lauda. These weren't people, he's a teammate. And Cole isn't even a champion yet. But yet he hates Cole.
But Cole was advertised by the announcer during a race as the hottest new rookie.
Oh, got it.
He was known for his speed and I guess his qualifying laps for his placement.
Got it.
So people will probably be like, who the hell is this guy who got first or second placement that I've never heard of, in their qualifying lap. So they didn't focus on that. Again, this movie is not trying to focus on the race season very much. I'm almost surprised that they bothered to tell us what city we were in as we changed from race to race.
Yeah, they could have just stayed in the same place for the whole time, and I don't think I ever would have noticed.
Because when they're like, okay, we are here, now we're in Dover, Delaware, and I'm just like, all right.
I learned some interesting facts, though. So in Daytona, the turns are at they're 31 degrees and they're almost 3 stories high. And there's other tracks that are much longer, and then there's other tracks that are shorter. So the speed differs big time in some of these races. I never knew that. Did you?
No.
Now, I know every IndyCar track is different. I know Formula Ones are different, but I guess I never thought that about the speedways. But I'm glad, so I know that now. I'm pretty happy.
So yeah, not talking about Formula One again, back in Rush, they weren't giving us text boxes at the bottom of the screen. They were telling us how treacherous this, raceway in Hamburg was, how they it had some horrible name, something.
Like the Widowmaker or something.
Right. So I can't think of what it was, but and then you see the drivers talking about it, and when it's raining, they're referring, this place is dangerous enough as it is. Niki Lauda gives his, 20% chance I'm okay with, any 1% more is too much. It's they're always cultivating even the interaction between the drivers and the whole ecosystem, if you will, of this racing culture in the world. And in this, again, not a flaw of the movie. It's just interesting that it couldn't be troubled to give you these little tidbits. Why are we going from racetrack to racetrack to racetrack around the world? And why are you even telling us that they're in these different places other than letting us know the races are in different places when there's nothing interesting about this location versus that so-and-so is undefeated on this track. that this track is particularly difficult when it rains, that the whatever the reason. It totally, we've watched 3 race movies and they're totally different animals.
How would you rank them despite them being totally different animals?
Oh, in quality, or like just like the John's favorite ordered list of these 3?
So we're not talking best, we're talking favorite.
Rush, Driven, Days of Thunder.
Yep. Same with me. Rush, Driven, Days of Thunder.
Now, Driven and Days of Thunder are close, but it's still Driven. And I think that goes back to our discussion about the kind of electric and energized style of Rennie Harlin that we both really appreciate through much of his filmography. I think that these more character pieces, not that we didn't learn a lot about the characters in Driven, these more character pieces, they're less exciting. And Rush had every bit of the integral character focus as scale. So of course is at the top, in my opinion.
Do you know what I think helped Rush the most was its $35 million budget and actors and script and brilliant cinematography because they hired the right people. I just think they knew we don't have that much money. So we need to focus on the characters. We need to make this. So Days of Thunder and Driven had massive budgets. So they were able to spend a ton of money. In this, they had real cars, they had fancy cars, they bought 60 cars. Imagine if Rush could have done that. Would it have been as good if they had all the money of these?
Right. When you just have X amount of money, you don't just say, okay, well, we're going to get shots of the whole speedway here with the fans there. Instead, you're like, wait, we only have enough money for like 3 shots. What's in them?
Yes. Yeah.
What's in them? How do we make these count? And it's the whole taken for granted notion, right?
I'm looking forward to our next one, though. I have some I don't know. Well, I'll save it. I'll save it till we talk about the next one, just to kind of see where we're at on it. But so any final thoughts, though, about Days of Thunder before we get out of here?
I ranked this in the bottom 3 of our 3 laps of the race pod so far, or the bottom of the 3. But again, I enjoyed watching this the first time in the past week, much more than I thought I would. And I always liked this movie when I was younger. And then the second time I thought, what's this going to bring to the table? And yet I still enjoyed it quite a bit. This is like an awesome coronavirus self-quarantine afternoon movie. Right? Because it will absolutely be satisfying.
Yeah.
But like I say about so many other movies, especially in my written reviews, do not make this your popcorn feature of the night, because you won't be elated, excited, scared, emotional. You're just going to be, yeah, that was nice. I enjoyed that. And so I think this is the build-up to watch Rush. It's the build-up to watch Driven or any other Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. No, I think you summed it up perfectly. And I think this movie, you can tell, came from a place of love, because Cruise was with Paul Newman one time. They went to the racetrack. Cruise went around the track at 185 miles an hour and went, we have to make a movie about this. So he has a story by credit on this.
Interesting.
As well.
Okay.
And then also, the guy who wrote it has an Oscar. So Robert Towne, who wrote the screenplay, he wrote Chinatown. And he also wrote Mission Impossible 96 and Tequila Sunrise. Well, and he wrote Mission Impossible 2. But yeah, he wrote The Firm as well. Oh man, Tom Cruise loved this guy.
One other tidbit, because we mentioned, we glossed over a lot of the scenes that included what I'm about to mention, but this movie was great at amusing pit drama.
Oh yeah, the ice cream, that kind of stuff. Oh,
right.
The tires.
So many gags with the pit drama. But what's interesting, all 3 of these movies had very different kinds, right? Very different kinds. The pit drama and Rush was more stressful or paranoid, or what's he doing?
Yeah.
How is he getting out before me and I'm still sitting, it was stressful. And then in Driven, the pit drama was more about, quick psychology sessions with Kip Pardue, with Jimmy Bly, when he's coming in. It's like, dude, you got to get your head straight. This, that, and the other. He's not listening when we're on the microphone. And this, it's more about antics and temperament. And, so yet again, these very different flavored movies, they're all great with their pit drama. Like they all knew that the pit is an important scene for all of us. But why is it important? It's very different. It's the same thing, but it's a totally different device in these different films, which makes me wonder again, when I reflect I can't think immediately, but when we get to our lap 4, what the pit drama was like in that, I hardly remember pit drama.
Oh, there's. We'll talk about
the pit drama was more with Ferrari, with with the other team.
With
talking
Josh
about
Lucas
team,
being sassy pants.
Oh, that's right. There was that. Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get there.
Yeah,
we're gonna get there.
I love that movie. All right, but this was a lot of fun. I hadn't watched this before. You brought this up and recommended it. I enjoyed watching it. It flew by. It did exactly like you said. And just because I put it at 3 doesn't mean I disliked it.
Right.
It's just a good, like you said, afternoon, rainy day. Put it on when you clean the house, or you're really tired, or you're reading a magazine. And that's not a knock on it. It's not. And it's just a fun picture. And I also like that we've covered NASCAR, Indy, and F1.
Right.
I love it. We've covered 3 different things, 3 totally different movies. So I think it's worked out. It's kept it interesting. So we're not talking about, we're definitely not talking about the same thing over and over. But this is good, man. Thanks for joining me.
Cheers.
All right. So for Mark Hoffmeyer and for John Levengood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.